Yu-Gi-Oh! An incredibly complex card game with tens of thousands of cards. However, what if each set was separated from the rest of the massive card pool and your choices when building a deck were extremely limited? In this series, in order to learn Yu-Gi-Oh! From the ground up, I will be embarking on an adventure through the history of the card game with Jeex. In each episode, we will have access to all the cards in a select product, and using only the cards in that product, both of us will build a deck before playing a best of 3 match to determine the winner of the episode. We will move in a chronological order in the series, and with each new episode we will forget the cards of the past in order to experience something brand new. We hope you enjoyed this adventure through Yu-Gi-Oh! And its evolution with us. Welcome to the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey. Ladies and fellas, welcome to yet another episode of the historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning journey, and welcome to 2004. And we're diving into Invasion of Chaos this time. So last time I said that the set Dark Crisis was pretty underwhelming and not like necessarily very powerful. This time it's very much the opposite. Invasion of Chaos introduces some of the craziest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time. So let's get right to it. And just to note, next time we are doing a Yu-Gi Evolution and Kaiba Evolution structure decks, so once again, that is on the line, so whoever loses the episode then gets to pick whichever deck they want to play. But that is for then, that is not now, and we're still obviously going to try to win. So let's see what Invasion of Chaos contains. And right off the bat, Chaos Emperor Dragon, Envoy of the End. So interesting enough, this card has been errated in the past. It didn't have this part where you cannot activate other cards or effects during the turn you activate this card's effect, which meant that you could use the effect when you have Witch of the Black Forest. You normal Witch of the Black Forest, you special summon Envoy of the End. You use the effect, your opponent has nothing, you switch to add Yadagarasu, and that's the Yada lock, and that's basically what created the very first ban list, or the need for the first ban list. But with the errata version where you can only do this, it's still a blowout, but it puts both of you into a basically just a top deck war, which isn't the greatest, so I actually doubt we will see CED this episode. But still notable, and this is very important, where you special summon Emperor Dragon by banishing a light and a dark from your grave. This is essentially what then became known as Chaos monsters, using lights and darks in stuff that special summons them by banishing them from your graveyard. So important to note, we are also getting the rest of the Ojama trio here. Soul Tiger is a 2100 wall, and importantly enough, this set actually has a very notable amount of beast cards, so I will cover those whoops as we get to them. A Dusk Kangaroo, a dark beast that if the attack of the monster attacks it is lower than the defense of this card, the attack monster is destroyed. 1700 defense, so not the likeliest to occur, but still something to consider, and it is also a beast. Then we have a flip monster to deal with trap cards on the field. Strike Ninja has a quick effect where you can banish 2 dark monsters from your grave and banish this face-up card until the end phase, and you can use this only once per turn. But still something that basically it's a 1700 beater that can protect itself. Now it's interesting in this set in particular where you don't necessarily want to banish stuff for Strike Ninja, and you maybe want to save them for your other chaos stuff instead. But that'll be interesting. Gale Lizard just on flip returns something to the hand. Spirit of Pot of Greed, only relevant because due to our recent rule change, we are allowed to play Pot of Greed. The discount plane recurs itself once when it gets banished. Berserk Gorilla, a 2k beater that can be normal summoned with a tribute. It can be in defense position or it will be destroyed, and it must always attack if it is able. Another very good card for the beast. Toolbox Freed is sort of the equivalent of Strike Ninja. It's a light that can banish once per turn 2 light monsters and then target a face monster on the field that has higher attack than this card and destroy it. So very steep cost. It'll be interesting to see if we actually end up running those. Gigante is something to maybe consider if you are running the Beast build, which must be special summoned by banishing an Earth monster from your grave, and if it's destroyed by battle lines at the grave, you will just nuke the field of all spells and traps. Also 1900 attack, so pretty good stuff there. Chaos Sork, a level 6, summoned with the Chaos summoning condition. I'll just refer it to that to keep things easier. 2300 attack, so pretty hefty. And once per turn, you can target a face monster in the field and banish it. And if you use this effect, Chaos Sork cannot attack, but a very, very powerful effect. Grimaju de Aiza, very sort of like known card for just how simple it is. It's simply a normal summon that attack and defense is the number of your banished cards times 400. So in a Chaos build, very simple to summon later on that you can get to some pretty hefty amounts. Then probably the best card in the set for the sake of our series, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. This is also one of my favorite cards of all time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Simply because as a kid this was one of the first like actually good cards that I owned. Plus I think the art looks absolutely incredible. So has the Chaos special summoning condition, and then once per turn you can either target a monster on the field and banish it, and then it can't attack, so the Chaos Sork effect, but this can also target face down monsters. Or if you attack with BLS and destroy an opponent's monster by battle, you can also attack in a row. So two very good effects. It's also 3000 attack and 2500 defense, so it's really big as well. So definitely something that we have to watch out for. Stumbling, one of the two interesting cards to actually deal with Berserk Gorilla very well in the set. I will attempt to not dwell on cards as much. I apologize, I tend to do that. A DD Designator declares a card name, and if your opponent, you look at your opponent's hand, if they have it, they banish it. If they don't, you banish a random card from your hand. So in certain spots, it might even be worthy to just blindly call BLS, and if you hit it, great. If you don't, you still have the knowledge of your opponent's hand, and then you just throw away one of your own cards. Soul Absorption just gains you life points when stuff is banished. In a set like this, might actually end up being relevant, but we will see. Crystal of the Forbidden Spell is a counter trap that counters a spell card by you discarding a spell yourself, and then it also prevents your opponent from using spell cards with that name for the rest of the duel as well. Zero Gravity is the other card I was alluding to that deals with Berserk Gorilla very well, which is just a trap that when you use changes the battle position of all face-up monsters on the field. Important to note the face-up. Then another card that is relevant for the Beast toolbox, Mad Dog of Darkness, just a normal vanilla level 4 dark beast that has 1900 attack, so it's very big. Then another card that is very powerful, Demok, Dark Magician of Chaos. During the end phase, this has been a raw that we will be playing with the errata version of this as well, but I think this is still good enough to be played even after the errata. During the end phase, if this card would normal or special summon this turn, you can target a spell in your grave and add it to your hand. It's only once per turn, and then if Dark Magician of Chaos destroys an opponent monster by battle, after damage calculation you banish the opponent's monster. And a Demok essentially cannot go to the grave from the field, and if it would leave, it instead gets banished. So that's one of the premier tribute monsters. The other premier tribute monster in the set is going to be Manticore of Darkness, and this is what really pushes the Beast toolbox, I feel like, above and beyond. So during the end phase, if this card is in the grave because it was sent there this turn, notably just sent there, it doesn't have to be sent from the field, it can also be sent from your hand. You can send a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster in your hand, or if it's on the field to the grave to special summon this card. And it's 2300, so same attack as Chaos Sork. So not the biggest, but it's still a one tribute monster that essentially can reoccur itself constantly. Then we have Sacred Crane, one of the better lights, notably here, since for the Chaos build, it will actually be much harder to find good lights in the set than good darks. It's simply a Winged Beast 1600 attack. When it's special summoned, you draw a card. Battle Ox, just a better version of the OG vanilla Battle Ox with a similar set line, but additionally, if your Beast Warrior being bounce attacks a defense position monster, you inflict piercing battle damage. Dark Triceratops, also a very good one tribute summon, where it just inflicts piercing battle damage and has 100 attack. Hyper Hammerhead, at the end of the damage step, bounces your opponent's monster to hand unless it's destroyed in a battle with this. Black Tyranno is just a big, and if your opponent only has defense monsters, they can attack directly. But 2 tributes for that instead of Demok, I doubt it's gonna be worth it, but it's still something to consider. Then a lot of cards to enable Umi. They mention it by name, so we're allowed to play it. Manju of 10,000 Hands also makes its debuts here, sorry. And a very good monster for ritual decks. I don't think we will have anything to play with it in this set, though. Smashing Ground destroys the face of monster your opponent comes with the highest defense, and if tied, you pick it. So that's going to be our premier removal tool in this set. And then one of the better cards for the Chaos deck, Dimension Fusion, just pay 2,000 and both play special on as many of their banished monsters as possible. And no one's per turn on this, which most likely won't matter, but still, what a crazy card. It definitely no surprise why it is banned to this day. Then another very iconic card, Compulsory Evacuation. A device. You just simply target a monster and bounce it to the hand. If your opponent summons a chaos monster like BLS, you bounce it back to their hand with Compulse. They just lose the materials, and then they'll have to find new materials to summon this as well. Self-destruct button essentially just makes the game a draw. Now we're going to be seeing that. A pretty degenerate card that is, just because it's so degenerate, it's banned. And then Trap Jammer is interesting. When your opponent activates a trap card during battle phase, you negate the activation and destroy it. So very specific, and I don't really know. I guess you could compel something in battle phase, but probably not something that we'll have to worry about. But interestingly enough, like the set itself, it has a lot of stuff that works against the... Oh, that's one thing I think I skimmed over it. It has a lot of stuff to actually combat Chaos itself, which is interesting. A Hero Emerges is also interesting, where when an opponent's monster declares an attack, your opponent chooses a random card from your hand, and you either send it to graveyard or special summon it. This is something to fuel your graveyard with monsters for the Chaos monster to be able to be summoned. And the other one that I forgot to talk about, yes, this one, Big Burn. I don't know how I skimmed over it at first. Big Burn, when something gets targeted in a graveyard, you banish both players' graveyards, or sorry, all monsters from their graveyards. I'm not sure if there is anything that targets the grave, but still, that along with stuff like Compulse and you losing the resources with it, even Soul Absorption, you have a lot of stuff to actually combat Chaos in this set, which actually makes it where it'll be interesting. The beast build that I alluded to, it'll be interesting to see if that ends up being like more desirable than just going pure Chaos, just because the set actually has a lot of stuff working against the Chaos itself. I probably will end up still going Chaos myself, we'll have to see, but I love VLS and I really just want to play it. But it'll be interesting to see what Jeex ends up coming with. But yeah, that'll do it for the set breakdown of Invasion of Chaos. Went a little over 10 minutes again. I do apologize about that. There are just a lot of powerful cards in the set to talk about. But yeah, that'll do it for the set breakdown, and I will see you all in the deck building.
Okay, so Invasion of Chaos. Invasion of Chaos, Black Luster Soldier, Chaos Emperor Dragon, all of those, Chaos Sorcerer, everything stems from this, right? This is probably one of the most legendary sets in the game in terms of how it impacted the whole metagame, because it introduced cards that were necessary to be limited outside of like outside of no forbidden. The forbidden list was introduced because of this set, I'm pretty sure, and the limited list was always in existence, specifically because the fact that there were some aspects that had to be limited, right? Like Monster Reborn, Change of Heart, Dark Hole, Raigeki, Duster, all of those cards, they had to be limited because the game is degenerate if they're not limited, right? Okay. So, yeah. But yeah, let me just start going down these things here. So here we have Berserk Gorilla. Berserk Gorilla is a 2k beater with a drawback, which is kind of surprising because I feel like we've only been seeing 2k beaters that don't really have any proper drawbacks outside of maybe like, oh, this card doesn't kill you as fast. But yeah, Berserk Gorilla has the effect of, if this card is in defense position, destroy this card. This card must attack if able. So this card can kind of just die if you use zero gravity on it, and that makes this card pretty terrifying, I feel. I have one copy of it in the deck because of stuff that might come up in the game, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, this card's gonna be the core of the offense here. You're gonna summon this turn 1, you're gonna attack on turn 3, and you're gonna keep this on board as much as possible. Then here a DMAC. I have one DMAC here specific because of the fact that I might want to have a high attack tribute monster. If my opponent, for example, gets out a Chaos Sorcerer, it'll be difficult to deal with that Chaos Sorcerer. And I think Dark Magician of Chaos being probably the best option here, because I get to reuse Pot of Greed and Smashing Ground, or even Wild Nature's Release, or even DD Designator if I feel that way. I think this card is really good, and also banishes cards that will go to the graveyard, which then limits the options that a Chaos deck would have. I should probably discuss what a Chaos card actually is real quick. Chaos cards are cards with a cost that says you must banish 1 light and dark monster from your graveyard and special summon them for that. And these cards are like the core cards of this set, which might be kind of weird that I'm not playing them, but I'm specifically not playing them because of a drawback we'll discuss after I finish talking about my monsters. Other than Deskangaroo. Deskangaroo is a beast with 1.7k defense, and it has the effect of if the attack of a monster that attacked this monster is lower than the defense of this card, destroy the attacking monster. So, for example, let's say your opponent attacked with whatever that's smaller than Enraged Battle Ox, and on Deskangaroo, so a card that has 1,500 or 1,600 or something and can be destroyed. Yeah, it would just get popped afterwards. Oh, no, it would get popped right away. So you could not attack this thing with attack less than 1,700. Then we have Enraged Battle Axe. Enraged Battle Axe is probably going to be really strong. It has the effect of if a Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. Really good. The entire deck is almost Beasts, basically. The only two that aren't are Gigantes and Dark Magician of Chaos. So Gigantes is a Nomi monster. It has the effect of cannot be normal summoned or set. Must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 1 earth monster from your graveyard. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, destroy all spell traps on the field. I have this card here specifically because it could serve as an extra body on turn that I might want to push. For example, let's say Soul Tigers have gone to the graveyard, Berserk Girls have gone to the graveyard, or Enraged Battle Axes have gone to the graveyard. If any of these are in the graveyard, I can banish them, and then I can just summon this guy and another card and maybe go for a game. Yeah, and the second effect helps me deal with stuff like Begone Knave, which can be an issue if this card somehow gets destroyed by battle. But yeah. Sorry. Then we have Manticore of Darkness. Manticore of Darkness has the effect of during the end phase. If this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can send one Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from your hand to the or face up on the field to the graveyard, and special summon this card from the graveyard. This card can be really cool and really explosive. It is a proponent of multiple different game-breaking loops, which is Not really an issue nowadays, honestly, because you can probably just spam a special summon a dozen times in a row anyhow. But like this card can specifically help you fuel your hand using cards like Card of Safe Return and other similar effects, where you can just send one card. If you send one of these cards to the graveyard and you have another card in hand, you send that card to the graveyard and then you special summon the other card. And now the other card has the effect of, since it's at the end phase, you can use its effect to send the other one that was currently on the field to the graveyard, and then summon this thing that was previously in the graveyard. And now you can summon the one that was just sent to the graveyard using the one that you just summoned from the graveyard. Yeah, so that's an infinite loop. But you can always stop it so it doesn't count as a game-breaking loop. Mad Dog of Darkness, 1.9k attack. 1.9k attack as a beater is not too bad. It's only behind Berserk Gorilla in this set, which makes it really playable. Then has Soul Tiger. Soul Tiger is a 0 attack, 2100 defense monster. That is all. We have DD Designator. Now this card is cool. You declare one card name and look at your opponent's hand. If they have the declared card name, card in their hand, remove from play that one card. If they do not have the declared card in their hand, remove from play one random card from your hand. And then we have, Smashing Ground. Destroy the one face-up monster your opponent controls that has the highest defense. Your choice if tied. This card is like Fissure, but arguably better. Stray Lambs. Stray Lambs is just a token generator. It just generates me 2 tokens so I can survive for 1 turn longer. Then you have Wild Nature's Release. Target 1 beast or beast warrior monster gains 1000 against attack equal to its current defense, and then you destroy it in the end phase. It's pretty good. It should help me deal with stuff like BLS with Manticore Darkness or even Berserk Gorilla. Then you have A Hero Emerges. A Hero Emerges is probably one of my favorite cards in the game, specifically because of the fact that it's kind of RNG. So when your opponent's monster declares an attack, your opponent chooses one random card from your hand, and then if it is a monster, you can special summon that card. Special summon it. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. Oh, if it's a monster that can be special summoned, sorry. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard, yeah. And then we have Begone Knave. Begone Knave is a tech card here, specifically for the fact that I want to deal with cards like BLS and Chaos Sorcerer, and maybe Chaos Emperor Dragon, if he doesn't, for some reason, use its effect. With this, I can just bounce BLS to my opponent's hand. If he attacks with this, and I don't have to use any of these, and that's basically minus 2 materials for him. Then we have 3 compulsory, which is the exact same reasoning. There's BLS, Chaos Sorcerer, and so on and so forth. Now there's Cursed Seal of the Forbidden Spell. This set has a card called Dimension Fusion. And I'm really scared this card can pop the fuck off, so I'm running 1 copy of this. Because if he happens to be playing something like DMAC, and he can just loop Dimension Fusion with DMAC, I don't really want to deal with that. So basically what this does is prevents you from activating spell cards with the same name as the card that you negated with this card. Energy Drain, target 1 face monster you control. It gains 200 attack for 200 attack and defense for each card in your opponent's hand. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, you basically usually gain like 200, like 400 to 800 maybe. And then we have Zero Gravity, which changes all the battle positions of all face-up monsters on the field. This is really important. I think this card will be really key in dealing with stuff like, what was it called? There's a bunch of like stacks effects in this set. Yeah, like this card. This card's in here. Stumbling. Any monster that is normal summoned or flip summoned or special summoned is changed to defense position. This card can be a menace, because I don't have a high defense, and I don't think I can survive if my opponent can just sit that out. Then we have DMAC. DMAC is, again, in the sideboard, really good card, I feel. I think I might end up siding it in place of 1 Manticore, 2 Manticores even, and maybe getting high value out of it. Who knows? Grand Maju. Grand Maju is here because of the fact that I'm stupid. And when I was building this, I was like, yeah, I'm Grand Maju, banished cards. Yes, but no, it's your banished cards. Then Hyper Hammerhead. Hyper Hammerhead is a really weird removal card in the sense that it's basically a compulsory on legs. If the monster that this card attacks does not die, or it doesn't get destroyed, you bounce it to the hand, which can be really good against Soul Tiger. DD Designator in the side, 2 more copies of it. That's really good. Again, Wild Nature's Release, a hero emerges, Begone Knave, and then we have the Big Burn. When you can only activate this card when your opponent activates a card that targets a monster in the graveyard. Remove from play all monsters in both players' graveyards. I don't know if there's actually anything in the game, in the set, that would target a card in the graveyard, but we'll see how that goes. And then we have two more copies, or one more copy of Forbidden Spell and one more copy of Zero Gravity. So the reason why I'm not playing Chaos, why I chose to play Beasts instead, was because of the fact that this set does not have that many light monsters. It only has 3 light monsters: Sacred Crane, Blackluster Soldier, and Spirit of the Pot of Greed. And I don't think Spirit of the Pot of Greed is worth playing, and I don't think it's realistic to consider BLS to be a source of a light in the graveyard when you don't have discard effects. Now you can make the argument that, oh, if he does get there, if you get BLS out, you can use the new BLS as the light monster, and then you can just keep doing that. But then the problem becomes that, oh, wait, Chaos Sorcerer also uses lights, and I don't really have a good way to get more lights in the graveyard, so then you're kind of just shafted. So I felt like Zoo Beatdown would be more consistent and overall stronger, so this is what I ended up building. But yeah, I hope that covers it, and good luck with the games.
Guys and gals, welcome to the deck building zone, and here's what we're gonna be playing today. And yes, shut up, I refuse to play 40 cards. But yeah, let's go over the deck and sort of see what I whipped up. I'll be honest, I'm not sure on this deck. I will preface by saying I am especially unsure about my side deck, but I figured it was interesting enough to at least try. But let's go through the deck card by card, and I will sort of explain what they do and what I hope for them to achieve. So first of all, 3 BLS, one of my favorite cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's super cool. It's so insanely powerful. What it does, it can't be normal summoned set, must be special summoned by banishing 1 light and 1 dark from your grave. So a typical like chaos summon effect, and then once per turn you can activate one of these effects. So either target a monster in the field and banish it, and this card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, or if this card attacks and destroys monster by battle, and then you can make a second attack in a row. And this card being 3,000 attack makes it pretty insane. Then we just have 1 Chaos Arc. Chaos Arc is smaller at 2300, and it has the BLS effect that it can banish a card, but this has to target a face-up monster, and also it cannot attack. So this is sort of here just as a fourth like budget copy of BLS. And also initially I had more Chaos Arcs, but I'm pretty worried that how will I find materials to actually summon these on the field, which is why I've ended up cutting those and adding more other stuff. Then let's go over our main lights and darks. For our main lights, we have 3 Free the Brave Wanderer. Once per turn, you can banish 2 light monsters from your grave to target a fast monster on the field with higher attack than this card and destroy the target. That's a desperation thing, since it is so many of our resources, or maybe something where we want to fuel Dimension Fusion. But mostly it's here just because it's the biggest normal summonable light that we can then have entered the grave. The other one we have Sacred Crane. It's 100 attack points smaller, and when it's special summoned you draw a card, so that's something to consider when you use Dimension Fusion. But these are gonna be our main lights. The only other one that I can think of from the top of my head that I even was in the set was Spirit of Pot of Greed, which essentially does nothing. So yeah. For our darks, we have better stuff. Strike Ninja once again has an effect if you banish 2 of the according attribute from your grave, which we probably don't care about, since we don't really care about protecting this much. We'd rather just it enter the grave just like with Freed, so we then have materials for Chaos Arc and BLS. Also 1700, DD Scout Plane is relatively small, but during the end phase, if this card is currently banished and was banished this turn, you can special summon it in face-up attack position. So this is something that we can use to sort of reoccur materials. It gets banished due to summon of BLS or Chaos Arc. It comes back, obviously it'll come back in attack, and it's relatively small at 100, so it will take probably some damage if Jeex wants to swing over it, but then it'll be in the grave and we can use it as material, further material if we need to. This Kangaroo at 3, this is just a decent defensive wall at 1700, where if the attack of a monster that attacks this monster is lower than 1700, the attacking monster is destroyed. So pretty nice. Then we just have 3 one-offs that I wasn't really sure how I feel about this, but I wanted to feel them out at least in game 1 and see how they perform. Well, okay, how 2 of them perform. One of them I don't see a world in which I take it out, but we'll discuss that later. So Grandma Judaiza is just a level 3 that has its attack and defense be the amount of cards that you have banished times 400. So this is just a very simple normal summon that later on in the game can be really big, like reasonably it can be like 1600 or even over 1600, yeah, or over 2000, which is very good for a normal summon. But you don't want to see this early, which is why I only run it as 1 copy. It's also a fire, so it doesn't even contribute to the light and dark package. 1 Hyper Hammerhead, this is just something to, if Jeex is also playing Chaos, this can serve as a normal summonable compulse, essentially, where we can summon this, swing into Bialas, and return it to his hand, or maybe even set this, he swings at it with something big and it gets bounced back to his hand. So this is the, I think, more questionable one, but I figured I really want to have something to deal with Bialas if Jeex ends up having it. Then we have 1 Demog. This is here mostly because it'll be decently hard to get 2 tributes on the fields, which is why I only ended up running 1. But this synergizes so well with Diffusion because not only does it always get banished itself when it leaves the field and then can be brought back with Dimension Fusion, it's also Dimension Fusion gives us materials to, because every time if we even summon 1 Chaos Orc or BLS, that means at least 2 monsters are banished, and we can then use those 2 monster tribute for Demog, and then Demog hits the field at the end phase. It can add the Diffusion we used to back to our hand or some of our other powerful spells. So it's just a very versatile card. Also, when it battles an opponent's monster, it banishes them after damage calculation. So essentially anything that isn't BLS, this can beat over and will then banish. So really good stuff. This also works very well with the I can't speak today, I'm sorry. Works very well against Manticore, since Manticore needs to be in the graveyard to proc its effect. So if we can banish it with Demog, then we don't have to worry about that either. Diffusion, just pay 2000, both players spell summon as many of the removed from play monsters as possible. We are playing Chaos, we want to be banishing our stuff. We can then get it back with this. We can use this fuel Demog. It's just an incredibly powerful card, which is why it's banned. And even like way back in this more limited format, this is going to be probably a very swingy card if we can ever pull it off. So then, due to us having Spirit of Pot of Greed, we can then play Pot of Greed, so we're playing it at 3. No, nothing really to talk about there. 3 Smashing Ground, this is just our best removal tool in the set, along with Compulse. So this just destroys 1 face monster your opponent controls with the highest defense. So just a very simple removal tool. DD Designator, declare a card name, look at your opponent's hand. If they have the card you declared, you banish it. If they don't, you banish a random card from your hand. So this is something that maybe if we have something in our hand that we don't really care about, he has like 4 cards in hand, we want to sort of see like, okay, can we make this push? Does he have something to maybe he has a lot of monsters? Does he have something he can use them as tribute for or something? This is just a very flexible card in giving us the intel, and also if we happen to open multiples with a decent opening board, we can then maybe snipe his best card in hand guaranteed. But I just feel like it's just a very good flexible card, where if we have something in our hand that doesn't really do something, or maybe we have like 2 normal summonable monsters that we can't really get, we can then use those to as fuel to just see what he's working with. And finally, also the card banishes from your hand. So if you happen to have, let's say, Defusion, obviously it can banish the Defusion as well, but if we have like multiple Defusions, for example, we don't mind banishing Defusion with this if we've banished something like BLS, we can just bring it back with Defusion. So it's just a very flexible card. Soul Absorption, I feel like since we are banishing a lot of stuff, and Jeex might be banishing a lot of stuff as well, and we don't really have much to set in our back row, I figured I'd throw just a couple of Soul Absorptions in there, maybe to prolong the game a little bit, because like I said at the start, I think the hardest part will be just getting the materials for our BLS and Chaos Sork. So this, when we get there, we can then maybe recuperate some life points that we might have lost along the way. Then we're running 2 Stumbling. This is solely here because if Jeex is playing Berserk Gorilla, I want to have an easy way to deal with it because it's a very high value target. Same thing with Manticore. Manticore has very low defense, so essentially everything in our deck apart from Scout Plane can beat over it if it gets set in defense. And for our stuff, the main stuff that we have, Chaos Sork, Blackluster Soldier, have really powerful effects, even if they're in defense, and they also have decently high defense stats as well, so I feel like this will hurt us much less. And finally, I am running 3 Compulse. So Compulse is here. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I should have got water beforehand. Compulse is here just as another removal tool, just like Smashing Ground. And instead of sending stuff to the grave, it sends them back to Jeex's hand, which if he's on Chaos will actually be better. Since if he's on something like BLS, by using 2 a light and a dark, we can bounce it back to his hand. He then needs to find another light and dark in the grave to actually resummon the BLS. So that's pretty good. Then for our side deck, which this is running really long. I apologize. I don't feel very confident about this, and mostly the reason here is so essentially what I'm running in my side deck is just a Beast package. So 3 Manticore of Darkness, it can get resummoned if it's sent to the graveyard by sending a Beast Warrior, or Wind Beast from your hand or graveyard, hand or field to the grave. Berserk Gorilla, just a 2k beater that has to attack, and if it gets set in defense, it gets destroyed. A 2100 wall in Soul Tiger, and then 2 Mad Dog of Darkness, just a 1900 beater with no drawbacks. Then we have 1-0 Gravity, because if I'm playing Berserk Gorilla myself, I don't really want to have a Stumbling set on the field. I instead want to have the option of using this whenever I feel like it. And then finally we have 3 Curse Seal of the Forbidden Spell, which is something where we can prevent Jeex from using stuff like powerful stuff like Pot of Greed for the rest of the game, or even Smashing Ground if we manage to counter it. But the thing why I think this is a little bit sus my side is because it's only 15 cards, so even if I try to side out of my Chaos strategy, I will end up having some cards in my deck that are there for the Chaos strategy and not really complementing this one. But I figured it was cool enough to try, and it'll only be I think it was like 3 or 4 cards that'll end up staying, so with stuff like Pot of Greed, we can hopefully complement that a good amount. But I think this is an interesting deck. I can't really say how it will perform, but it'll be interesting to see what Jeex has come up with. Is he playing Chaos or Beast or some other weird variation like we are? It'll be interesting to see that. But I won't keep you here any longer. Thank you for watching the deck breakdown, and hopefully you enjoy the match. Ladies and lads, welcome to yet another episode of the Historic Yu-Gi-Oh! Learning Journey, and this time it's Invasion of Chaos time. So pretty exciting episode ahead of us, or what do you think, Jeex?
I think this is gonna be very beastly.
Oh, gee, I wonder.
Oh, quite wild, if you will.
Oh, okay, we need to get right into this before these plots keep getting worse. But anyways, the question is, are you gonna be a rock thrower today, Jeex?
I'm gonna have to say that I don't know.
All right. Well,
You gotta find it out.
let's find out. Good luck. No, I got absolutely
You got
demolished
baited.
there. I'll give it up.
Quite a chaotic choice you made.
I figured like this is this is a safe one, but it was in fact not the safe one. But yeah, best of luck.
Standby main. I activate. Just to make it easier, I activate.
Brother in Christ. Game two.
Game two. No, yeah. Go.
That
I'm
is
gonna,
disgusting.
Set a few cards, and I'm just gonna summon this guy and pass.
That's a pretty good turn one. I would say.
I would be
I
inclined to agree.
hate everything. What? How is this is not physically possible. No.
Oh, what's game two? Game two? Oh,
we're probably good there, but I think I want to get some data at least. I will set a monster and I will pass.
okay. I will take the turn. I will go standby main. I will summon Enraged Battle Ox.
Oh yeah. This is the just.
Attack.
All right. So this one. Well, it's a Death Kangaroo, and I will take the 300 for the effect of Ox.
Then I attack this.
1700 to the dome.
Then it's your turn. Yeah. You got one dark. One dark's in the grave.
One dark is indeed in the grave. How is this worded? Yeah, no. Oh, this is so gross. Man. Yeah, I think what we will do, I will normal summon Freed. Is that okay?
I accept this. Yes.
All right. I'd like to move to battle phase. And
yes.
I am going to attempt to crash Freed into Ox.
I'm sorry to say, but I have a compulsory evacuation device.
You just have everything, huh? Alright, that goes to my hand. Main 2.
You're not dead yet.
I am not dead on board. But
I mean, if I add another 2,000, you're still not dead. So you're fine.
my hand would like to disagree, but I don't think I have another choice. I'm going to pass the turn.
I will normal summon Mad Dog of Darkness.
Yep.
And I will attack with Enraged Battle Ox.
Yeah, I'm assuming
you're
just
attack first.
You're just swinging with everything. I'll just take everything. Nothing to do there. And I'm at 400 life.
And then I simply pass turn. Game 2?
Yep. No surprise that this is what happened. But yeah, let's not open that hand again. Okay, there we go. It's just running along. Yeah, let's go game 2. Yeah, I think with that, let's try this again. And I would like to go first.
Yeah, acceptable. Oh my fucking god.
Huh. I mean, that is interesting, I'll say that much.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's interesting in a good way. I think the answer might be no, actually. I think this might be a little bit weird, but I will actually just normal summon Strike Ninja.
Okay.
I will set a card in the back row and I will fire off Soul Absorption and I'll pass on that.
Oh shit, Soul Absorption.
Big life gain.
Oh my god.
This is where
You know
Berserker
how
Gorilla just comes down and destroys me.
I activate Pog.
Bro. Yeah.
That's okay.
It is. It is fine.
Dude, that's unlucky as shit.
Didn't draw another pot of greed. So unlucky. Oh. No monsters? No monsters, huh? Interesting. Strike Ninja number 2, okay.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Battle Phase. Strike Ninja.
Yep.
Alright. Yeah, I think I'll just pass on that.
Let's go!
You found a monster. I'm assuming.
Oonga boonga!
It's the gorilla, baby.
I swing.
Compulsory. I will 0.
Oh, you will? Oh, I will bounce it to my hand.
Alright. And these go to defense.
Wait, come on. Where is there?
It wants to do everything but that.
Yeah, and then I just pass.
Alright. Start turn. I would like to flip these to attack.
Yeah.
Now, what's your back row? There's no way you have another compulse. I mean, hell, let's just go for it. Normal freed. So this is a great match where everybody gets to have fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I had DMAC, Manticore, Manticore, Manticore.
Last game I opened triple D-Fusion, now you open triple Manticore. This
How is that even possible?
Exactly, like literally 40 to 41 cards. How do you get through all 3 copies of the same basically opening hand? Well, that's Yu-Gi-Oh! We're having a great time here. Let's go. Game 3. Alright, it's looking like a pretty swift one. If this goes, yeah, I figured if this goes fast as well, then I reckon we might just do a.
I'm just gonna
another set.
Normal summon Mad Dog and set to, if Dueling Book allows.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Dueling Book.
All right. There is indeed a dog. Draw a standby main.
It's big dog.
An absolutely massive one. A dog, eh?
Ooh. You wanna just set a soul tiger real quick?
I think I will set a card.
Okay.
Fire off soul absorption.
Yeah.
And pass.
I go standby main. Come on, video game. I don't get why this shit doesn't work sometimes. This
it's just card doesn't work.
I want.
That is a gorilla.
Yeah, and then I attack with the gorilla.
Yep, and scout plane to the grave.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I attack directly.
Yes,
and
I will take
pass.
19. Start turn. You'd love to see it.
One dark.
Huh. I think what we will do is we'll just set a monster and
a monster.
Pass it back.
Okay, I go and yeah. I would like to I will summon this kangaroo.
Alright.
And I will attack this soul tiger with a berserk gorilla.
It is in fact another plane.
Okay. and then I go face.
Yep, I will take. Oh, the order! Now this is where I drop the gores.
You can't drop gores. You have a spell trap.
I'm just gonna cheat. You know?
Oh, you can drop drag though.
Or I can cheat.
1.2k.
That's right. We're going to cheat.
You gotta harness the power of Billy Mitchell, guys. Oh wait, that was actually the wrong order. If you dropped drag there, drag would have been big enough to not die. So, not bad.
No, this is where it gets painful. No, yeah. I think I will attempt to normal summon Freed. Is that okay?
No.
Okay. Freed to my hand, and that was a good match.
Oh, GG.
Yeah. You wanna do another set? Okay, you had a match.
Yeah,
so it didn't matter anyway.
I mean,
yeah. This was so fast. I guess you can see like from these matches as well, like that Yu-Gi-Oh is just getting faster. So
yeah,
I guess that's something that we're also displaying since we get to play multiple matches. But yeah, let's.
It's kind of wild.
I hate you. I also would like to point out that you have dropped 3 pots this set, and I have a 0. Just an interesting observation to make.
I don't know what you're trying to imply here.
Nothing really. I just merely.
I dropped a Pog in the. Honestly, in the first game, the Pog made all the difference, but in the second game, I only drew like 2 more Manticores.
I mean, yeah, and I will say, like, in the first game, we opened triple defusion. I don't think, like, dropping 1 pot or 17 would have made a difference with my draws. So. But yeah, I have the room is up.
Where it is? Holy shit. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people playing. This time, I think I will, if it goes to siding, I will attempt to actually side properly as well. But let's do a second set.
Let's see how this goes.
And best of luck. Although not too much luck, because we don't need those pots.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna summon Berserk Gorilla.
The gorilla is going berserk.
I'm gonna pass.
Alright, gorilla pass. Love to see it.
Power move, if you want.
It is a pretty powerful move. I think I'll just set a monster and pass. You know, who needs back row anyways?
Reasonable.
We don't like back row here.
I also will summon a Mad Dog of Darkness, and I will attack your face down.
Yep.
The Soul Tiger? The Soul Tiger?
It is. Freed.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Freed.
It took his time, you know. And yeah, I will take a 19 from the dog.
Now, this is where you drop gores, and that will win you the game.
Almost.
Yeah. You just trade the token into the Mad Dog, and then you have 2.7k beater that I have to deal with alternative methods. That's insane.
That kind of sucks. I would have liked to see that earlier, I'm not gonna lie. But I guess we'll set a monster. And then we'll set a monster.
Hello? Video game?
I have set a monster. And then I'll activate Stumbling. Unfortunately, I would have liked to see this earlier, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's gonna kill all of my berserks. Unless.
End my turn.
Unless oh wait, that's a. I think that's a state-based action actually. I'm gonna go standby main. I will summon another Mad Dog of Darkness, and it will go into defense.
At least this stems the bleeding a little bit.
Yeah, I will attack.
It is a Strike Ninja this time.
Okay, and then I will attack again.
I will take a 19.
And then I will set 3 cards. That's our 2 cards. And then I pass.
Alrighty.
So I got really interested in seeing when we're actually gonna see Gores. Because like we keep talking about the attack order, right?
Yeah.
And I checked and it's not a core booster.
Oh.
I did not know that.
Which?
It's a set that I've never heard of called Dark Legends, apparently.
Dark Legends.
I think this is the first one. Like in Japan, it came out as a promo because it's in Yu-Gi-Oh! R, right?
Oh, okay.
Like it's either a promo card or in Dark Legends.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it seems to have come out in 2006. The promo, at least.
oh, it's a decently old card. I mean, old.
Yeah.
But like I
we should probably
expected.
figure out.
Yeah, we need
how
to
to
figure
use those
out how
promos, by the way.
to do those. Yeah, because Gorse is definitely like one of the most influential cards in
Yeah.
the whole game's history. So I think like
Yeah.
not playing it at all would be doing a disservice. So
Like it literally defines the order of attacking that I do.
Yeah.
Alongside Tragodia. Like the way that I choose which card attacks is specifically like if he drops Gores here, I lose.
yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
But anyways, I think I know what will happen with one of your back row, but I would like to at least do this one, so I will banish a light and a dark from my graveyard to summon one of my favorite cards in the history of this game, Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning, who will be set to defense, assuming nothing else here yet.
Yeah, that's acceptable. That's
So yeah,
acceptable.
that goes to defense. And now it's been summoned. Anything you would like to do before I attempt to banish your monkey?
No, my monkey is gone. If you will banish my monkey.
Yeah, I would like to banish the monkey.
Goodbye, monkey.
And another question is, do I want to flip this? It would go back to D. I don't think it matters. Yeah, I think on that I will just pass.
Okay, let's go smashing.
Yep, smashing ground. So only face ups. So this one gets sent to the grave.
Yep, it's bye-bye. Goodbye. That card is also another one of those that, like, we talked about Gorge just now, but BLS is one of the most influential cards. The modern ban list exists because of this card and everything that came with this card. Like,
Envoy.
Yeah, I think we need to actually preface this a little. This set is insane. Like, the amount of ripples it cost for the game and the way that the game started developing from here onwards is really interesting, which I feel like we haven't really discussed a lot because it doesn't come up. Like, a lot of the sets are just like, yeah, there's a lot of good cards in here, and that's a really good card. That's important for the history of the game.
Yeah.
But then there's stuff like Invasion of Chaos. The literal term for a deck that uses light and dark monsters is Chaos. And it's because of this set. It's because of Chaos Sorcerer. It's because of Chaos Emperor Dragon. It's because of Invasion of Chaos. It's because of Blackluster Soldier and all that. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I think this set is one of those things that I've thought about fondly as someone who hasn't played during this time.
Yeah.
Because it's like this had a lot of cards in it that I eventually saw and was like, that's a really good card. What the fuck? When did that come out? Like ages ago? How's that possible?
I mean, yeah, like the sole reason why BLS is one of my favorite cards in the literal history of this game is because it was one of the first actually like good cards that I owned as a kid, where I saw it and I was like, bro, this looks insane. And obviously it also looks very cool, but like to a kid, like owning a very powerful card like that is like, bro, this is so cool. And obviously, like, we didn't know the rules back then, so we basically just played with no tributes, no nothing. We literally just had like, okay, you can summon one any monster per turn, and you can assume with no chaos restriction, you can just drop a BLS. It's pretty good in Playground Yu-Gi-Oh! As well.
Like, even with that, like, even with the chaos requirement, if you think about it, if BLS is the first card you ever read as a player who has just learned to read the cards, you'll go like, wait, I can do what with this?
Yeah.
It does what? Like, it's crazy. This card is not as overloaded as Chaos Emperor Dragon, which I assume you're not playing, so we won't be seeing that one. But these two cards are disgusting.
Yeah, definitely. And like, yeah, Emperor in its original state, such a disgusting and degenerate card. So luckily, I think here, like, definitely, luckily we are playing with the modern versions of the cards just to make it easier to follow and everything like that. But yeah, no Emperor Dragon gonna be showing up today, but in its pre-errata form where you were free to just use the effect and then do whatever you please with your turn as well. It was disgusting.
Yeah, I can totally see why that would be the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will now continue my turn. I will move Mad Dog of Darkness to attack, and I will attack.
Yep.
I think these kinds of discussions about the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! Will become more prevalent as time goes on, because the time in which I played Yu-Gi-Oh! Like a lot, will slowly encroach on us.
Yeah, the time when I actually started like understanding the game, it comes a lot later. But like this is still something that, like we are now in the era where there's a lot of cards that I have played. Like I've had them as a single card, which is like, okay, this is so cool. Like this is something. So it's like single cards start popping up that I think. That I remember fondly, which is also cool to me as well. But it's like then when we approach like the eras where you started playing, where I actually started playing, like I think those would be really fun.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to see how those go, specifically like in terms of what we can talk about and how we'll play, like what we'll play.
Yep.
Especially because the game will then have expanded to a point where we'll probably have to figure out something new for the archetype support ruling.
Yeah, it will definitely, or not definitely, but most likely it will come up. And yeah, we will see what happens then. But for now, let's focus on Invasion of Chaos. I will set a monster, and then I would like to banish a light and a dark from my graveyard.
Yeah.
If the game lets me.
Yeah, okay, Dueling Book. Take your time. Don't worry, don't worry.
To special summon, and I will skip a step, so I'll just put it in defense. Chaos Sorcerer.
Oh, no.
Actually.
Is that the Chaos Sorcerer?
Will you allow me to do one thing, which is take this card that I set back into my hand?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I figured we'd finally get to do something cool, so I think that's what I want to do. I would like to use the effect and banish one of your dogs. You get to pick which one.
Right dog.
And then I would like to pay 2,000 life points to activate Dimension Fusion.
Ooh.
So both of us get some stuff back.
Yeah.
And everything gets summoned in defense, essentially. Because of Stumbling. So I will get this back, this back, this back, and this back. Then I would like to use the effect of BLS to once again banish one of your dogs. Doesn't matter which. And after that, I would like to tribute Death Kangaroo and Freed to summon Dark Magician of
My guy
Chaos.
literally had Exodia.
I essentially had this. This is why I was like, can I bounce this back to my hand? Because I noticed like, oh yeah, I can do this. Which also unfortunately gets set to defense like this turn. If that wasn't the thing, would have been insane. Yeah, but I still think it's pretty good. So
okay.
Yeah.
I have an out.
Let's see it. Anyways, I will go to the end phase. I will get Defusion back to my hand, which doesn't matter because I don't have the life points.
Yeah.
And I will pass on that. And now, does he have the Black Tyranno? Oh wait, I have Stumbling, so it doesn't matter here anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't even use it because it's 2 tribute monsters.
Oh yeah, for some reason is it an 8 or a 7? For some reason I thought it was 6.
It's a 7. I'm pretty sure it's 7.
Okay, but I mean that does make sense. One tribute 2600 would be kind of crazy.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah, so Demog is this is the highest, right?
Yeah, that's the highest.
So Demog gets banished.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
It's like that thing will completely shut out any kind of other card that I might have that could deal with any other cards, because it destroys, for example, the Hyper Hammerhead doesn't resolve if you use this guy because you banish it, right?
Yeah, because everything gets banished after damage calculation.
Is it that? No, it doesn't negate it. Never mind, I'm stupid. Oh well, I will then activate Straight Lambs.
Yep.
Yep, and then
would you like to set something?
Turn this guy to attack, and I will
beat over the one thing you can't beat over. Yep.
Actually, never mind.
Oh yeah.
I won't do that. I won't do that at all. I'll just keep him defense and just in my turn.
Yep. Seems good. I will start my turn. Draw a standby main. Now this is actually interesting.
Imagine if final attack orders was in use.
Yeah.
Fucked.
Actually, I think. Does it make sense? Honestly, I think it does. I would like to set a card and then activate a DD designator declaring Manticore of Darkness. It is Soul Tiger. Alright, so I will banish from my hand Dimension Fusion. Yep. Yeah. And this goes to Graveyard? Yeah. And then I would like to switch everything to attack. Do I have fuel for Strike Ninja? Not yet. Okay, so we move the battle. I will swing Ninja into one of the tokens.
Fuck. Yep.
Then I will... do I want to banish or send it to the grave is another thing. I think it doesn't matter, so I guess I'll use Chaos Orc's effect to banish Mad Dog.
Here, you have to do it in main phase.
Oh, yeah,
it's once per turn you can
yeah,
one phase. Yeah,
that's true. Then, I mean, I don't think there was anything to recur stuff from the grave, but I might be wrong. But anyways, I'll just swing into it with Sork then.
Yep.
Then I will swing Bielas into this, and afterwards use the effect to swing for another 3,000.
Yep.
Now the only thing, actually no, I have Stumbling, because like, I was considering like, should I maybe keep Strike Ninja, but I think like leaving 3k on the board is a bit too much, so I will pass on that.
I activate Pot of Greed. He allows me to
can
draw
do that.
2 cards.
That is scary. I know Soul Tiger. I don't know the other two.
This is the worst card I could have got here.
I'll love to hear that.
I'm gonna activate. I'm gonna set that. I'm gonna set this. I'm gonna pass.
Alright, so most likely that would be the Tiger. Draw a standby main. What's the punish for me swinging Bielas into that? Sakuretsu... Not
There's no
Sakuretsu.
Sakuretsu.
I mean, I was thinking of Compulse for some reason. I said Sakuretsu. You're gonna be alive afterwards, but nothing I can do about that. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll just go to battle phase. And I will attempt to swing Bialas into this.
Okay. It's Berserk Gorilla.
It is a gorilla. Okay, so the last card in your hand is Tiger. Then I will activate the effect. And not forget it, so I will have to do this first.
I will activate a hero emerges, and I will special summon onto my side of the field
Your punch is one
the
random
one
card
card I have in hand.
Yep.
Soul Tiger.
Alright. I will then redeclare. I will have to do it with Bialas. If I want the second attack.
And I will take 4k damage.
Yep. 4k and afterwards. Is there a world where it matters? Do I set this card or not? I don't think so. I will just pass.
Oh, here it is. I will normal summon Enraged Battle Ox. It will go into defense.
Yep.
Then I will activate. Come on, game. Work with me here.
Changing
I will
everything
activate.
to...
0 gravity.
Yep, so everything gets switched.
Yeah.
And obviously you can then swing over Strike Ninja, and I will just die for that. That was a great game.
That was a really, really good back and forth.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I had basically Exodia, but I'm still very happy with that game. Pot of Greed prevails, I guess.
Yeah, Pog is just too powerful.
I would like to see one,
strong.
but you know, we'll see if that happens. But yeah, let's go game 2. All right, I'm happy to try this, so let's see how this works out. So I am done.
Yep.
And let's go game 2. Man, that was probably the best game we've actually had all series. And yeah,
I really feel like that showcased how Yu-Gi-Oh can have a lot of actual like ups and downs. Like, often it feels like, oh, you got a board, I can't break this board, so I just got fucked. GG,
Yeah.
go next. But, like, in that case, your board was still breakable, and you had actual weaknesses on it. Because you had, oh, sure, you could have played around the fact that you knew I have Enraged Battle Ox, and you knew that the only way I can actually use it is if I summon it and I somehow make it go back into attack.
Yeah.
And the only card that has the effect is 0 gravity, so if you set the Armed Ninja in defense, you would have beat that strat. So.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it, but you know me, I always gotta go for the greed.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. What was the other set you had, by the way?
What was it? Wait, did I? Oh, wait, the monster.
Yeah.
It was Kangaroo, I think. I'm pretty almost 90% sure it was the Kangaroo.
Fuck. Because if it was something else, then there would have been a chance.
Yeah, because like that was what I was like. From funny as well, because it's 1500, so it's like even with that, I'm left with 100 life. So, but yeah, I will just do a humble T set and pass it back to you.
Let's go. I'm gonna.
Do not pot.
I'm gonna. Normal summon Berserk.
He is very berserk.
And he berserks all over your berserk targets.
It is a Des Kangaroo, so that'll go to the grave.
Bye, Kangaroo. Then I will just pass.
Alright. I will accept the turn. Draw standby main. Yeah, that's not true.
Now it's time to activate Pog.
I wish.
No,
that's
no Pog?
That's so unfortunate. Yeah, no, I will just actually set one and pass. Yeah.
Ooh.
Doesn't feel good.
Well, Wow.
I swear to
I'm
God.
gonna summon Mad Dog of Darkness. Because now ordering doesn't matter. I'm just gonna swing.
Yep, I will take 39.
And then I will pass. So the last game was good, right?
Yep, alright.
Game 2.
Now this would be end of the set.
Oh yeah, game 3. No. Come on, you gotta win. You gotta
I
win.
mean, I have to use Smashing Ground here because any monster I'm just dead. So I'll just Smashing Ground. So dog dies.
Goodbye,
Does
dog.
it want to? Okay, there we go. And pass on that.
Okay, I go standby main, and I will activate DD Designator, calling Blackluster Soldier.
I mean, I'm pretty happy you get to see my hand.
I want to actually, I want to set this one card in my hand before I do that.
Yeah, go for it. But yeah,
this looks very familiar. I think I've seen this hand before.
Don't worry, my next draw will be the third Manticore.
I hope not. And then I also activate my face down card, which I said just in case, and it's Pog.
Yep. Which
and yeah. Then I will summon
another Berserk Gorilla with me at 100.
I'm not gonna summon another Berserk Gorilla because if you have 0 gravity for some reason, you can pop both of them.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I will take 35, and I guess Soul Tiger.
I mean, it works, but at the same time, it buys you 1 turn, at least.
Why did no? I mean that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's yeah. I hate when that happens.
I'll just get
if
it
you
back
had
to my hand.
Spell cards in hand.
Yeah, you know the smashing ground is what I had, and I was like, I really want to fire this on Pog because you're gonna have it every single game, but unfortunately that's not what happens. Anyways, we found a gorilla. I would like to swing gorilla into kangaroo.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. Yeah,
and then main 2, and back to you. And now any normal summon. Yep, gorilla is gone.
And now, because again, I don't want you to pop my field.
Yeah, that'll do it. So why I said my side is sus was like I kind of wanted to also like try the beast stuff. So I basically, what was my side deck? I had 3 Manticore, 3 Berserk Gorilla, 3 Soul Tiger, 2 Mad Dog, 1 0 Gravity, and 3 whatever this is, Curse Seal was my side deck. And now I sided into all of that. But the problem there is because I have so much chaos stuff that I still end up with what I had my. I mean, in hindsight, I definitely should have just thrown away the BLSs because I had all 3 of them. I definitely should have thrown those away rather than stuff like Scout Plane.
I absolutely think BLS is too bricky of a card to play 3 of in this format.
Yeah, it does make sense. But yeah, and also I have one of this.
That's in my side.
Obviously, it doesn't do anything here, so.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Which is.
I'm happy we got that one very good game, though.
Yeah. It feels like this is either we just built like shit decks that were way too bricky, or we built decks that are very strong in one specific aspect and then they crumble in other aspects.
Yeah. But yeah, like the Beast deck definitely feels more consistent because you have so much punching power. Now, obviously, it does help that you got what 4, no 3,
6 Pogs, I think.
Yeah, a lot of pot of greed. Where's my first pot of greed? It definitely does feel like for you pot of greed is what Monster Reborn is for me. But yeah, like kind of crazy that I didn't see a single pot of greed the whole 2 matches. There's the first one.
I didn't see a single Begone May or Rising Energy. I banished them face down by accident. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
This thing and this thing. Begone Knave is a really good like anti-Manticore, anti-BLS, anti-Sork card
Yeah.
because
Gotcha.
it bounces them back to your hand when they deal damage. So,
It
and I
is.
felt like
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, and I felt like out of all the options I have in this, pouncing cards, regardless of if they're actually good targets to bounce to hand, is better than putting them in the graveyard.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And like that's one thing that we didn't really talk about earlier is like Compulse is such an incredibly good card.
yeah, it's broken. Like generally, I can totally understand why it took so long for compulsory to get off the ban list, and
Yeah.
like or not ban list, limited list, because this card, regardless of how outdated it is now, for fucking almost 2 decades, felt like this card is kind of bullshit.
And
Like
like
this card just bounces everything, and I lose a lot of value.
this card, if it doesn't target, is still a stable today. Like literally.
Yeah, yeah. If you just bounce one card in spell speed 2 without targeting, it's just broken.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
spinning and bouncing, vanishing face down. Those are the strongest ways of removal in the game.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could imagine could come anywhere near that is like placing cards face down on the extra deck.
Yeah, I
And
get, but like that's such a niche effect. So
nothing has that, I don't think.
yeah.
Like it doesn't exist as removal tool. And I guess attaching materials, because materials
Oh
are
yeah,
on
true,
the
true, true.
field. They're not cards on the field.
Yeah. But yeah,
Or
like,
in a zone anywhere.
I am the one thing that I'm unhappy about is like we didn't get to see Manticore pop off because that's another card that's like it's just so
Yeah.
good because it's so incredibly hard to get rid of. Like you literally have to banish it with like Sork or Bielas or it's just gonna keep coming back. And I mean it was just Berserk Gorilla Beatdown for the most part. But yeah.
Oonga Boonga. And of course, there's cards like Hyper Hammerhead in this set, which is a really solid tech card, I feel. Because like if you just play this card and set this on turn 1, like it doesn't do anything. But if you wait until like your opponent gets BLS out on the field, well, suddenly swinging with your Berserk Hyper Hammerhead into that BLS is a +1 play. Because your opponent loses a big important card, he can't resummon it with Dimension Fusion anymore. He can't use it for fodder for summoning another one, because it's one of his few light monsters. And you just maybe lost one Hyper Hammerhead for that.
Yeah. So now it definitely like in like now a closed like more close and limited format, it definitely like does. It is pretty impressive like how much stuff like they clearly knew how good Chaos and BLS and stuff like that would be because there's so much stuff in just this one set that's also there to actually directly combat that strategy. So
that's actually a really good point because I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh sets at one point didn't have this at all. Like when I was playing, like cards were released like regardless or disregarding, that's the one, disregarding what the set had in it. Like you just had a card that did something and it didn't interact with anything in the set, and it just felt like they were putting cards into boosters to fill out the boosters for no other reason.
Yeah.
And it feels like since like Legacy of Darkness, at least, a lot of these sets have been like, oh wait, this set has 3 tribes and they are all fighting together and they all have like clear weaknesses and strengths, and they're all intended to like lose against one and win against another.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And then with Pharaonic Guardian we had Gravekeepers and zombies, and Gravekeepers win against zombies. So if you play one tribal, you immediately lose to another. But there was clearly like an intention that Gravekeepers exist to keep the zombies in check, and the zombies get insane cards in that set that could make them really good.
Yeah, like Pyramid Turtle.
Yeah, like Pyramid Turtle and Book of Life.
Yeah.
Like those cards are really crazy. And the only reason why they were kept in check for any reason at all is arguably because of Gravekeepers in that set. So if you drafted these boosters, like these boosters are really good for drafting, I feel. Which is weird because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have good drafting boosters.
Yeah.
They stopped designing them in that way, and because archetypes became more and more common, and because legacy support is a thing now.
Yeah.
And that's like
it
the
would
most
be
common
possible
form
to
of
do
cards.
now.
Yeah, exactly. It's genuinely strange to think how hard their like philosophy on designing sets has changed.
Yeah.
Because in MTG, March of the Machine and Aftermath are perfect for drafting. Because like every single set is good for drafting because they designed them like that.
Yeah. I think Yu-Gi-Oh tried at some point like doing some draft stuff, right?
Yeah, they
But
had Epic Dawn and another one, battle packs that were really good. Like me and my childhood friend used to buy a bunch of those, and just like got cards that we never had before. Stuff like Tour Guide, stuff like Mystic Tomato, and
yeah.
other cool cards. And because that set was full of like really interesting cards that you would never see anyone actually play. Like for example, you would have a card like what's it called again? I don't remember anymore. Uh, sorry, I'm drawing a blank now. Oh, Bait Doll. We had Bait Doll, and I had never seen Bait Doll or heard about Bait Doll, and I
Oh
read
yeah.
that, and it was like, yo, this card could be really cool in a limited format. I didn't think of that at the time because I hadn't never heard of a limited format, but now, in hindsight, holy shit, Bait Doll is cool in a limited format, you know? And
Yeah.
that's a part of why I felt like this is doing this is a good idea. Like I like this a lot because it gives that same vibe of, yo, this card, this shit sucks, but here I can play it.
Yeah, that's also like one of the coolest parts about like limited formats where you have cards that are like you would never even look at them for a second that can actually like do a lot, and especially like with stuff like this where they actually have like I feel like kept like the integrity of the set in their minds throughout when actually designing the set. And there's like, okay, so we clearly have these outliers in terms of raw power, so we are also giving them something to actually combat these with. So stuff like BLS that obviously in a more open format back then when every booster just added more to the overall card pool, obviously terrorized formats for a long time. In the context of just one set, it's still probably the best single card in the set, but it doesn't feel like it's like impossible to deal with, which is
Remember, when this set released, this set had pre-errata Chaos Emperor Dragon.
yeah, just
So
like
that card is a bomb.
yeah,
Like if you're gonna draft one of the two and you're gonna have one of the two in your deck, you would have pre-errata Chaos Emperor
yeah,
Dragon.
definitely,
So
definitely sure.
and that's why that card was banned until the errata, and BLS hasn't been errata.
Wasn't Chaos Emperor Dragon and Yatagarasu the two cards that were like literally the first bans, or did they already ban BLS then as well? So I just
No,
remember like,
BLS didn't get banned at that point. It got
okay,
limited. They
gotcha.
limited a bunch of cards, and eventually they did ban like the Yada lock because the
Yeah,
Yada lock was just degenerate as
I
fuck
mean
and
yeah,
was way too consistent. And like that's when they started doing the limited list more than anything, because
yeah,
stuff like Pot of Greed, Monster Reborn, Harpy's Fair Dust, the Raigeki, and all these cards were already limited because they were power cards. They
yeah,
were so strong that you having three of them in a deck is just unheard of. Like even back then, you couldn't have three Pot of Greeds in the deck in competitive format, because like what the fuck is what is the integrity of a competitive format if you have three cards in your deck that are just like, yep, +1, thanks. I
yeah. It is. It is something else, but that was how things were back then, I guess. Things
yeah.
were very different, but I I don't know. I definitely like I enjoyed this a whole lot. Not only because I get to play one of my favorite cards, but I do definitely like think that the first game that we played of Set 2 is probably the best game we've played in the whole series. I would
Yeah,
argue.
it really demonstrates a lot of combo potential.
Yeah,
I feel like you going and summoning shit with Diffusion and then using those materials to summon DMAC and getting like every single power card in your deck onto the field in one turn for 2,000 life points effectively. That's crazy.
yeah, and
Like,
then
sure.
you're finding like basically from the brink of defeat, finding a like somewhat niche line that then wins you the game from there. I think like overall the interactions there, stuff that happened, everything like about the game was just super cool,
Yeah.
and that's why I definitely want to highlight that.
I feel like the closest thing we've had so far is kind of like the reverse epitome of Yu-Gi-Oh, where we had that situation where you were attacking into a monster and it was a coin flip.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is true. That
Yeah,
is
like
definitely.
that's the other side of the coin.
It's literally like this coin flip settles the game. Whereas like now we have like, okay, there's one person does a really explosive play, gets a lot of stuff. The other one finds a niche thing there and wins through that. Like the two sides of Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. Like you definitely sometimes just bullshit happens and you just have to deal with it. But there's still a lot of situations where you can actually just find really cool lines of play and win that way. I definitely think
Yeah.
that's still a thing.
We gotta highlight the fact that I did in fact top deck Rage Catalogs in the like that was like sure it was a pretty good calm like minded maneuver to go like I have an out.
Hmm.
But it's like I literally top decked it
I
using
mean,
pot of I didn't draw it with pot of greed, but the only reason why I drew
yeah,
it was,
dog
was
towards
cause of
it.
pot of greed.
But to be
So
fair, it was your first Ox that game, I think so.
yeah, and I had 3 in the deck, so
Yeah, and like as we already said, like the first two games, both of us essentially opened all three of a single card in our hands.
yeah.
So I don't think like finding your first Ox in like the first, I think it was like 16 or something, 17, something like that. Cards
Yeah.
isn't too unlikely. So it definitely didn't feel like okay, I absolutely lost the bullshit. I just think it was a very cool interaction.
Got the 1 in 19 snatch steal.
Yeah, it wasn't an anime moment.
Yeah.
It was just you playing
Reasonable.
cards. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like definitely one of the more enjoyable episodes, and I definitely do think that this like when if we happen to have a really fast set one going for the second set, definitely has paid out because we tended to have our second set be much more competitive and much more back and forth and fun. Therefore, so
I feel like if we were to make 2 videos, the first set would work perfectly for the Zoomer market, and
yeah.
the second set would work for the people that want to watch Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, you just want to see something. All right, here you go. Here's 8 minutes. There's a match. Enjoy that, and then we
That's
go.
actually what happened when I sent the was it again? The one where we forgot. Oh yeah, Magician's Force. I sent
Oh yeah.
that to Jojo, and it was like, I watched the first set and I saw you get your ass beat. Like,
I
the
was
first set lasted like 8 minutes, man.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, but that's the thing that's also like cool about us, like slowly progressing. It's like now we're getting to a point where you sometimes get that, and I mean, to be fair, you could theoretically get it like right off the bat if you get something like you get a Blue Eyes in the Grave, you Monster Reborn, maybe get into multiple copies, you pot of greed, stuff like that. Like it could happen then. But now there are like feels like there's a lot more ways for that to actually happen. And then if something happens like the first two games where one side actually opens pretty good and the other opens full break, then the games will be really fast. So
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of this game at this present moment here.
yeah.
So
But yeah, this
a
was
lot having good breaks will inevitably lead to sometimes having bad games.
yeah. But I mean that's basically any card game. Like sometimes you're just gonna draw bad and
Yeah,
you just gotta move
yeah.
on. And all
That's
part
why
of
you
the
gotta
game.
play. Yeah, that's why you gotta play more than 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's why nothing that has any competitive integrity whatsoever is ever first to one, because
Thanks.
shit happens sometimes. But this was definitely a lot of fun. So thank you for watching. And next time is actually going to be another structure episode. I figured like we might as well get that out of the way here. So it's gonna be Kaiba and Yugi Evolution. So we're gonna see a decent amount of familiar cards. I'm not sure if there are any new cards, but we figured since they're so much better than the original ones, that for the sake of we are going sort of showcasing like how the game has evolved, for the sake of that, like it would be a disservice not to play those decks. So but I think I will be electing to pilot the Yugi deck, since I have played different variations of Blue Eyes at least, I think 2 times. And although I would love to be there to sack with both Premature Burial and Monster Reborn, I figured I might as well go for what feels like the more consistent option. And if I learned anything today, I should not let you play a deck with Pot of Greed in it.
No.
I mean, that's probably the biggest thing about those, like the Kaiba deck not having access to Pot of Greed and Yugi deck having that access feels pretty insane.
Yeah, like any kind of card engine will just make it easy for you to go through your 40 card deck. Presumably you're going to make a 40 card deck now, so you know.
Yeah, you know, I definitely always play 40 cards for the consistency. Yep. That is definitely what I do. But yeah, I think that'll do it. After the structures, I think it's Ancient Sanctuary, which I took a brief look in. That'll be one of those sets where it's gonna be hard to put together 40 cards. Let's just say that much. But
we'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see, and it'll be sometimes those can also be interesting. Like we saw it with Dark Crisis, which definitely felt less powerful. We still like managed to get some actually pretty good games in, so it'll be interesting to see. But like I said, thank you once again for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time for the structures. Peace.